What is up, guys? Zachariah Hutch here, and today, um, we're gonna talk about something today. Today, we are going to talk about nightmares, and the reason I chose to talk about nightmares today was because last night, um, I really didn't go to sleep a lot last night. Last night, I went to sleep, but I only went to sleep at like 4:30 in the morning. And when I went to sleep, I had a nightmare. I'm not gonna tell you what the nightmare was, but I will explain the nightmare, but I won't tell you like what was in the nightmare or any of that. But what I will tell you is that I did have a nightmare probably from 4:30 to about almost 7 in the morning. So yeah, it was a long nightmare. Yes, today we're gonna talk about nightmares. I'm gonna do my best to try to tell you what causes nightmares and anything, just to let you know what I've learned about nightmares because I've been searching what happens in nightmares and I've been learning some stuff that I really did not know about nightmares. And this was just a topic today that I could think I could talk to you about a lot that I've learned about these things and ones to make sure that you don't keep getting these nightmares and just to make sure you have good sleep at nighttime. So let's get started. So first off, what is a nightmare? A nightmare is a terrifying dream that happens when you sleep. A nightmare is something that goes on in the brain when you sleep that goes back into the brain and really messes with your dreams. Um, a nightmare can be something that it wasn't coming. Nightmares can cause tossing and turning, and when you have a nightmare, let me just say, a nightmare will happen unexpected. Like a nightmare will happen like that. Like you go to sleep, you'll sleep twice in the night. You'll sleep, you'll have a good dream, and then the next dream you have, you have like a haunting dream and it's a scary dream or whatever. So the different types of dreams nightmares people will get, people falling, people running from something, something chasing them, something killing them, or something eating them, like doing all that. So yes, a nightmare is a scary dream, and it really hates to have a nightmare too because really nightmares are something that really disturbs your sleep and like a lot of people will wish nightmares didn't exist because all nightmares just do is haunt us, and that's what we really don't want. And so, to first thing, if you do not want a nightmare, here's the first thing. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but here I'll explain my nightmare. So my nightmare was an eating nightmare. So or I guess we could say killing, but I'm not gonna say what was eating me or killing. I'm just gonna like tell you what was in the nightmare. So I'm just gonna tell you the end of the nightmare because that's where the nightmare like really kicked up. So I was at my old house, at my dad's house, and I was listening to music before bed, and excuse me, but I was listening to music before bed, and I was I went in my room. I was listening to rock and roll music, and I decided to watch this thing and on my TV, and all of a sudden, right when I turned it on, it just started moving a lot, like moving and moving and moving, like it was felt like it was talking, but it was just moving. It wasn't talking, but it was just moving, and then all of a sudden, it just like it came out of the frame, and then all of a sudden, I tried to run from that thing because it was just going out of control, and then all of a sudden it just comes out, and all of a sudden I'm just walking slowly like out of my room, and it felt like I could barely move, like I could not move at all. So it was easy for that thing to catch me, and then you know and then it killed, and then it got me, but it didn't literally just kill me right away. It just like it grabbed me. I felt like I was floating, and then it was choking me, and I was trying to call my dad. I was like, Dad, 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 like I was screaming it, but when I was calling it, it felt like it was choking me, and and it made it harder for him to hear me. So all of a sudden, and then right after that happened, it went down. Like it killed me. It ate me. We can say it ate me because that's what it really did. But and then all of a sudden I woke up from that nightmare. And when I woke up from that nightmare, I was pretty terrified. Like I was like, oh, and I was like, okay, this makes me not want to go back to sleep. But but yes, nightmares, they're scary. And when you have a nightmare, it will make you not want to go back to sleep. Like it's so disturbing, especially if the nightmare is terrifying. If the nightmare, so there's this difference between having a nightmare and having a night terror. So those two, so a nightmare is only just like if you have a nightmare, you only have that one nightmare, and then the next dream you have is like a good dream. So that's not a night terror is something totally different. A night terror is like a nightmare where you have nightmare, but that nightmare keeps coming back. And it comes back to just to keep haunting you in your brain. It's haunting you in your sleep. It's haunting you, whatever. Like, and sometimes when you even wake up from that nightmare, it will feel like you're still like you'll feel like you're awake, but something happens, and then like you feel like you're awake, but you're really asleep. So when you wake up, something happens, and then you're like, I'm asleep, right? So yeah, that's like a night terror. Night terror is like a nightmare that really haunts you. Like it can't like it could be like a different nightmares each time you sleep. But what would make it really scary if it's your worst nightmare, and it just haunts you every time you go to sleep. Like, and it just disturbs you, especially if you have like school in the morning, if you have work in the morning, like it can really disturb your sleep. Like, so the nightmare hours is probably about 2 to 6 in the morning, and nightmares, like they're really disturbing. They're really disturbing. Uh, I remember when I was younger, back in the day, I always used to have nightmares about the thing trying to kill me and everything, and that those nightmares, I remember they were very terrifying. And every time that nightmare would occur, I would always go sleep with my mom and my dad, and really like I was tired of it. Like I didn't want to keep suffering with this day and night. But like I said, I was little back then, and really, to the parents who are watching this video, it is most common for little ones to have nightmares. So, and really, that's just the thing. The nightmare starts when you're about 2, and it could rise to almost to your adult. So, but it mainly occurs in the little ones. So if your child goes to your room and then like starts crying or do any of that, it could possibly be because they had a nightmare or they're having a night terror. They want to sleep with their mommy. They want to sleep with their daddy. They want to, they like they'll be scared when they wake up. They'll think like something's going on for real. Like a nightmare is really no joke, especially for the little ones. Like if you're an adult having a nightmare, you're just gonna be you're gonna be scared when you wake up, but obviously you're not gonna be like crying or anything or anything because you're older now, obviously. But yes, that is the thing. All right, so now that we just figured out what is a nightmare and what is a night terror, I'm gonna explain to you now what causes the nightmare. So first off, if you are hang on real quick. I'm sorry, guys, for what just happened. It was because my little brother just came in, and I didn't want him to know what I was doing. So yeah. So anyways, like I was saying, now let's get to what causes the nightmares. So the first thing you really shouldn't do before you go to sleep is eat. The times that you really should not be eating is around 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night, especially not midnight, because don't eat like those spicy foods. Don't eat ice cream. Don't eat like wings. Don't eat like those hot foods. Don't eat those too cold foods. Don't eat some. If you're gonna eat like at night, make sure it is around 9 o'clock, and make sure that that food is not as hot. Make sure it's not as cold. Make sure it's not too spicy. Make sure it's not too sweet. Make sure it's like just make sure it's you know in the middle. Just now, not saying it's not bad to eat it at late at night, but because you're not always going to have a nightmare when that happens, but it is likely that it will occur. So that's number one. You should not be eating so late at night with those foods. Number two, um, nightmares mainly can occur if you are having a fever, because you are taking so much um pills and medicine, and that is a possibility that medicine is making you have nightmares. You need to check with your doctor on these medications that you're taking, because they will tell you, like, you'll go in there, they'll say like, all of a sudden I'm having these nightmares when I'm having a fever, and I just want to make it stop. And so you need to ask your doctor before you take these medications, because it is very likely that to have a nightmare when you're having a fever. That's like especially. So please make sure that to check with your doctor about that. Um Number 3, make sure to not check on your exercises. You have to make sure that you are exercising probably not too much. You have to make sure that you exercise the right time. Make sure that you drink plenty of water. Um, yes, because that's another thing too. Nightmares do, like, health is can be also that cause your nightmares. Yes, health. Because if you're not in good health, it's a possibility that you're having those nightmares. Like, because yeah, because sometimes nightmares can mean something, and I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't know like that nightmares can mean something. And so health, yes, that's another reason why you could have nightmares. You need to make sure that you're exercising not too late. You have to make sure you're not eating foods at night. Like, you really don't need to be doing all that, especially when you're going to sleep. And number 4, um, don't watch any scary stuff. Like, if it's your worst nightmare that you're watching at the middle of the night, please do not do it. Because let me tell you, you watch scary stuff. Especially if you are a child, you got to be careful, because if that's your worst nightmare that you're watching before bedtime, then it's a possibility that nightmare is gonna happen. I'm letting you know this right now, because like, this is just a warning. Like, obviously, you don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it is very likely. So, watching those stuff before bedtime, that could be a problem. It could cause a nightmare. So, like, scary movies, scary whatever. So, that's another thing. Do not watch scary stuff, in the middle of the night before bedtime. Any of that. Don't do that, because that can result in nightmares. Um, like I said, don't watch on your medications. Do not be doing all that. Don't be. You need to ask your doctor with these medications. So ask them for the right ones. Ask them like which ones are a possibility of nightmares. Because some, like, I don't know. Like, I've heard this. I heard medications could be the reason why. So you need to really watch out for the medications that you are taking that can cause them. So really, you really have to be careful. Now, the last part I just want to mention, I really wasn't gonna make this video that long, because really, I'm literally almost giving you all the information of nightmares, and so I just want to also talk just getting the right sleep at the right time. really to not prevent nightmares, because I know you want to say, if you are, especially if you have a child that is keep having nightmares, for the parents who watch this video and are like really like, if your child is going in your bed like every single night, you have to then I'm actually glad you're watching this video, because I'm here right now. I'm about to give you this advice right now. You have to make sure that your child is getting the right sleep. You have to make sure that your child is not watching anything scary before bedtime, because that's a reason why they're probably having those nightmares. You have to make sure they're not eating anything too hot, too cold, too spicy, too whatever. Like, because that's late at night, and if, especially like if the lights are off, if any of that is happening, like where you're eating, that can result in nightmares too. Just the atmosphere of where you're at. So make sure fevers. If you are having a fever, you have to check with your doctor, like you said, like I said. But make sure your child gets good sleep at nighttime. You have to make sure that um check with your child. Even say a prayer for them. That'll be good too. Say a prayer for them before they go to bed. Um, if you see your child twisting and turning, it's a possibility that in a few minutes they're gonna wake up and then they're gonna start crying. So just be prepared for that. If they do, make sure to tell them that it was just a dream and that it was just a nightmare. And then your child tell your child that it's all fake. They're not real. They're just nightmares. They're dreams. They're scary dreams. They're haunting dreams. Just tell them that. Like, you really don't like gotta go into details. But yes, for the parents watching this video, I'm glad that you clicked this video though, because I was here to give you some information about nightmares, and I just wanted to talk to you with this today because of because I had one last night, and even though I'm an adult now, I'm still having these dreams, and and these can even affect me when I get even more older. So yes, like I said, check your child. If your child is scared to go to bed tonight, like I said, you can pray with them. You can you could tell them that they can sleep with me. They can sleep with them, their parents, if the dream does occur. Um, if they're having a night terror while in your bed, just go with them. My mom would just tell me just dream of something else, and literally that would not work. But yes, just check your child every time they go to bed. See if they're tossing and turning, and then just say like everything's gonna be okay, and and then they wake up the next morning. If they keep having nightmares, call your doctor immediately. See what they can do about this, because nightmares, like I said, they can be a medical condition. Like they can be a problem, and like I said, it could probably be because of your health. You're not doing something right. That could be a reason why you're having these nightmares. So please, check with your doctor if your child is experiencing, something like that, because nightmares, they're terrifying, and even as an adult right now, for me, they're terrifying, and I really don't like nightmares. So, and I'm sure anybody else don't so too. So today, guys, was just a talk today about nightmares today, and just to if you're having nightmares, I was just here to give you a heads up of why these things are occurring, and that was me today. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Keep it touch to Zachariah Hodge. I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out.